welcome to another episode of Why We Sing. Today, I have with me Dr. Jameson Alston, rapper, author, songwriter, husband, father, and minister who ministers right here at United Christian Faith Ministries. Thank you for being with us today, Dr. Alston.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I feel like I made it. Like I was telling you before, I'm like, you had Pastor on here, you had Mark on here, you had Joel Tubman on here, you had Kim Burrell on here. I'm like, then you got me on here.
Now we got the Jameson Alston on here, okay? So I'm excited for this conversation because we've had conversations one-on-one, but now we get to have it with, other people so they can kind of peer into kind of the different conversations we've been having,
For sure.
Including the probably hour we just talked before we started recording it.
Yeah.
But thank you again for being here. Now, something a lot of people know you as minister, people know you as husband, father, but people don't know you well, in my opinion, as rapper.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that season of your life and where you are with that now?
Yeah. So from the time I was 9 years old, pretty much like 2/3 of my life, I've been in some way, shape, form, rapping, just creating art in the form of rap. How it started, I was like in 4th grade, and everybody at the time, they would gather like around recess, and they were trying to find somebody in the class who could rap. And I don't suggest nobody else do this, but I had memorized the intro from, I don't know if you remember Adult Swim, but like the little show that used to come on like after hours, like kids supposed to be in bed, but I'm not supposed to be watching none of that, but I'm up watching it anyway. And they had like this little intro rap. It was like the little heads. It was like the little French fry head and the little soda shake head. I don't know. You don't remember this?
I don't.
But they had like a rap intro. I memorized it, and I would like twist some of the words around to like kind of fit me, and that's what I rapped in front of them. Everybody in the class loved it. I did it a couple more times. I was the man. So I had to figure out something else the next day, and so that's when I kind of started coming up with my own stuff. But from that time on, whether it's freestyling, writing, or just coming up with lines, hooks, I've been rapping. And put out my first album, I was 14. Put out my second album, I was 16, about to be 17. And but yeah, I've been I haven't put out music in quite a while now, but hip hop, rap music is near and dear to my heart. I don't think it'll ever leave.
So that music was more in a secular space?
Right.
Okay.
It's more mainstream.
Okay.
But I think like how we were talking about offline, it's like I didn't really have any images or models of Christian or gospel rap that was quality. Like all of my introductions to gospel rap, no offense to anybody out there, obviously, but all of the images of gospel rap back then to me was whack. It was trash. And I never really got a lot of encouragement to pursue Christian or gospel rap because all of my, elders at the time are looking at rap like it's demonic, like it's worldly, it's not really something you can have success with, but it's and that's kind of like where I was like, okay, what do I do with this? I don't know what to do with this, and I didn't get a solid like, okay, this is where this can go until like I was already in college. So that's kind of like my relationship with rap.
So you basically were rapping a lot in this secular space. You got saved.
Yeah.
And didn't know what to do with that. So, okay, how does rap fit into this?
Yeah, great question. So like, first off, let's look at it from this. So God doesn't see music from a secular or sacred lens. He only looks at music as either it's acceptable or unacceptable. And for a long time, I struggled with that. And so once I realized that God really doesn't have a secular or sacred lens, it's either acceptable or unacceptable. For me, I just have to set the standard for what my music is going to represent. Obviously, articulate a Christian worldview, and then live my life according to my Christian worldview, and not necessarily for an image to be accepted by people. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So from there, like, you can make the music, you can rap on the beats, you can freestyle, you can have the musical career that you want to have, but it's just a matter of, like, this is your life, this is your faith. It's no different from Martin Luther King articulating his faith when he was behind bars in the Birmingham prison. He wrote those letters. He's articulating his faith, no different from a pastor or a Christian who's in government articulating their faith. People articulate their faith on their job. You know, they may not necessarily state it verbally, but you'll see it in the content of their character, how they carry themselves out. It's no different for artists. And so you don't have to be a Christian rapper. You're not a Christian plumber. You're not a Christian firefighter. You're not a Christian teacher. You know what I'm saying? I look at Christian as a better noun, did I say that right, than adjective. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's kind of like where my mindset has shifted over the years as it pertains to Christian rap.
Mm-hmm. And I love that, because as a Christian yourself, it is embedded into every single thing that you do. Right. And so I actually recently had a conversation with Pastor, and he was saying that regardless of what you're doing, you should still be doing it unto God.
Right.
And doing it with excellence and, you know, all of that. Right. And so it sounds like what you're getting into. And so I love that, that reference to, it's not about secular or Christian music. If you are a Christian, then your music is acceptable to God, if that's your focus.
It should be acceptable to God. Yeah, because it's like your worldview, like what comes out of your mind is going to determine the content and the activity of your life. Mm-hmm. And so it doesn't have to be under the banner of gospel or Christian for me to articulate my Christian worldview, whether that's in the form of rap art, that's gospel music. I don't know if there's another contemporary version of gospel music. I don't know. Country, I'm thinking about genres. Mm-hmm. Like Afrobeat, like it doesn't have to have, the point that I'm getting at is that it doesn't have to have a Christian label. Mm-hmm. Like I'm wearing a Christian shirt right now. It says Set Free. So I did this thing when I was in college where every time I got paid while I was working, I would get a new shirt, and the shirt had some type of Christian label on it. And then I got convicted because I was spending so much money on clothes to show people that I'm a Christian, how much of a Christian these people know me to be based upon my lifestyle if I didn't wear the shirt. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So at that point, I intentionally just stopped wearing all of the Christian apparel. Oh, you're not Christian no more? You're not buying none of the Christian clothes? No. Like, you should know that I'm Christian based upon the content of my life. And in a similar way, that's how I feel about the music. I don't have to have gospel rap label if I drop this album. You should know I'm a Christian. You know I'm not going to cuss. You know I'm going to talk about nothing misogynistic towards women. You know I'm not going to, say anything degrading or be lying on record talking about I killed this person. I'm not doing any of that because that's not my worldview. And I think that that's how, going into the music industry, that's how Christians could, or I don't want to say what you should or shouldn't do, but that's how we should approach it. Just like how we approach our everyday lives, our walk with Christ. we should approach our music saying, I'm on my walk with Christ, so I'm going to produce music as unto the Lord.
Now, does that mean that you're only talking about God and quoting scriptures in music, or like, what does that mean?
Yeah, so like it doesn't mean that so early on in Christian rap, they used to have this group called Cross Movement, and they were like the first. I'm a historian, like I do history. So two things. So like my mom didn't support me initially when I decided to rap, but she was like, if you're gonna do it, you need to learn everything about it. And then even though my mom raised me by herself, I still had a relationship with my dad, and I had a weekend with him, and he was like, if you're gonna do this, I need you to know everything about, music, even if it's just how many minutes maximum go on a CD. You need to know everything about the industry that you're going into. So I'm a historian. So Cross Movement, they were like the first popular Christian rap group. They came out like the early 2000s, late 90s. Their music was heavily didactic. It's a sermon on a CD. So the Revelation and First Thessalonians and Romans, like you're gonna hear a sermon jam-packed in 16 bars on every song, because it has to be about God. And that was cool at that time. And I've heard other artists such as Lecrae speak to this, how that for him it was cool in one season, but he was more of a psalmist. So sometimes instead of explicitly articulating the view of the scriptures, let's put some flesh on this. Let's not just talk about our passion for Jesus, but let's express the passion of Jesus through us as a husband. So it's okay to make a love song. Sho Baraka, which is another Christian artist, he wrote a song called We Could Be More. We Could Be More was a song about his wife. And the early Christian community at the time did not like him for that, because it was like, okay, it's not about Jesus, but it's about his wife. And so you kind of see what I'm saying? Yeah. So to answer your question, like, no, it doesn't have to be all didactic, and it doesn't all have to be about crunk for Christ. It doesn't have to be that. It can be areas of your life. It can be other areas. It can be about your life. It can be about just things that you go through, male, female, what you're going through in your life. You're just articulating it from your Christian worldview.
I love that. And that's very necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk a little bit more about just why have you not, I can see this passion for you that you have for music and for rap. But you said the last album you put out was like what, when you were 17?
Yeah.
So that was what, maybe 10 years ago? Okay. So seeing the passion that you have for it, why haven't you done more with that, recently, or do you have plans to?
I actually do. We had a challenge in a staff meeting recently to put out one new song, and I've been busy making babies the past couple of years, so this been taking a lot of my time away.
Okay.
But no, seriously, I want to do about 5 songs within the next 12 months. I know I'm gonna at least do one for sure. I've gotten asked to do features a couple times over the past year. But really and truly, like, I feel like my lane as an artist has shifted. I feel like my calling as an artist has shifted. It's not so much about being an artist myself as much as it is being a prophetic voice for other artists, especially in the Christian music space. In the Christian music space, there's not a lot of infrastructure. We're building an infrastructure here at our church with the youth choir, but by and large, the gospel music or Christian music industry has very little infrastructure when it comes to training up new artists and giving new artists opportunities to excel. We don't know about show budgets. We don't know about booking shows. We don't know about performances. We don't know about merch. we may know about scheduling, because we have to schedule for church activities, but traveling and security and radio and doing press releases and so on and so forth, there's not a lot of infrastructure to that. And I'm really like praying out, God, how do you want me to participate further and not just be an artist, but more like an artist executive, artist mentor, like consult something as it relates to giving life to other artists in that regard. Most artists don't know anything about royalties. They don't know anything about how you get paid. They just have passion. They have a gift, and it's easy when you just have a gift to go about just using that, and then people just eat off of your tree. You know, they eat off of your tree and don't give anything back to you. Life takers and not life givers. And if I'm gonna do anything in any industry, whether it's the healthcare industry, the arts and entertainment industry, every industry that I know I've been called to, I always want to be a life giver, not a life taker.
So I love that. I love the idea of helping other people on their journey to becoming artists.
Now don't get it twisted now. Don't get it twisted now. If the beat come on and the beat is right, you know what I'm saying? It's burnt.
You got it.
It's burnt crispy.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But I love that idea, though, of using something that has been your passion in order to provide infrastructure and guidance for other people who may be interested in doing that. But I also love the fact that you're still not trying to not do music.
Right.
It's still your passion. It's still something you want to do. And so you as a minister, though, when it comes to actually being a minister of the gospel, you know, I've seen you and heard you preach, and sometimes you do get in this cadence where you do, where I feel like you about to just bust out with something. Have you ever just wanted to be like, let me just rap real quick this
last time I preached, this last Sunday before last, I was like, I think I was quoting Romans 8, and I was just in it. I was like, bro, I was like, let me come out like just for a second. But I do that a lot because there's a lot of similarities between preaching on stage and rapping from the stage. And I don't know if I've ever shared with you this story, but the reason why I, by and large, put the microphone down from rapping was because I needed to pick up the scriptures and study. And so I was 17 years old, and I had a performance. Donnie Rose, they did a concert downtown, and he asked me to come perform. And I get there, and I'm nervous, I'm excited. I got all my equipment, and I mean, I got CDs, and I'm 17 years old. I got stuff in my car. I got a wagon full of stuff. And I get there, and I get this call from my cousin. And my cousin is not saved at the time, and he's threatening to commit suicide. And at the time, the Lord had been dealing with me, knocking on my heart about evangelism. And I had already had my spiritual transformation, like becoming a Christian and everything like that. But it was like, rap was like I don't want to say an Isaac, but like an Isaac for me. And I didn't want to let it go because I knew if I was going to continue to rap, I was going to have to at least change how I was doing it, because I was doing mainstream. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing primarily worldly, music. It's not talking about the Father, and it's not talking about things in a godly way. And so that's what the tug on my heart is. And so I was like, okay, if I leave and stop this show, I'm basically saying no to my music career, because this is a pregnant stage. Like, you got to realize everybody's there. Marcel P is there. Luke St. John is there. LG5 is there. We went to high school together. all of these artists are there. This is a pregnant stage. Like, you just don't turn this down. And I get on the phone. I call my cousin. I said, hey, man, I'm on my way where I need to go. And I ministered to him, witnessed Christ to him. He got saved that night. And praise God for that. But I had to walk away from that pregnant stage. I had to walk away from that opportunity. And so me doing that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave music alone for a while. And I'm just going to focus on my relationship with God, focus on the scriptures and my calling as a minister. Because I need God to be pleased with me. Because if everything go blow up in smoke, I'm not going to stand before Candice. I'm not going to stand before John. I'm not going to stand before nobody. I'm going to stand before God. So I got to be serious about it, not curious about it. So that's the reason why for a long time, I was just serious about the scriptures and not into just trying to grow as an artist. Because I feel like when you gifted, he don't ungift you. You know. So.
Yeah, our gifts come without repentance. So yeah.
Yeah.
But having said that, as a minister though, do you ever see yourself incorporating the two at the same time? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do. It's just, it has to be, one, led by the Spirit. Two, it has to be the right audience, and it has to be done in a God-honoring, God-glorifying way. Not just preaching passionately, but it has to be done creative. It has to be done in a way that's fly. And I feel like fly is so old, but it's got to be something fresh. It can't just be, something whack, off top of your head. Like, if I did a 16 before I preach, that may be cool. But again, the audience, I can't do that in a congregation where everybody's 50 plus. That ain't finna work. So it's got to be done in a way that's got to be fly. So I've thought about it a couple times. I don't think I've given much thought to practicing it yet. But I want to.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. So, the title of our podcast is Why We Sing.
Yeah.
I want to know, point blank question, why do you sing or why do you rap?
I do it because I was made to. I do it because I love to. I do it because this is a part of the reason why I'm here. It's to glorify God with all of my gifts and all of my talents. And I don't think there's going to be a day that I'm breathing that's not going to be a part of my day. So that's why.
I love that.
Can I tell you a quick story real quick?
Yes, please.
Rap today is not the same as it used to be. Rap 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I'm like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. You had to actually be skilled. You actually had to be good. Nowadays, you don't have to be good. You just put AI and ChatGPT and now you got lyrics, right? But what I used to do was, my uncle taught me how to burn CDs. Again, I'm not advocating none of this, but I learned how to use LimeWire. And I would take instrumentals of like mainstream songs and put them on CDs. And y'all remember CDs, like I just burned like hundreds and hundreds of CDs. And I still have this CD case with at least 100 CDs of just instrumentals. And I would like just put it in my car and I would just go. And I would just listen to a beat and practice. Listen to a beat and practice. Freestyling, or I would use the beat and I would use the beat as a template for a song. And I feel like that's how I got good or got better with the skill. Because I think that's important for people to know too. Like, it's one thing to have a gift, but outside of just discovering your gift, you got to develop your gift. And once you develop your gift, get good, now you can be deployed into your gift and actually do something and make a difference with the gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's important for your listeners to know.
It very much is. So one thing that we were talking about before is just kind of that call to ministry and needing support, kind of being that strong friend, but sometimes you need support. When it comes to, being a minister or just everyday life, what kind of music are you listening to, or even particular songs that are helping you to kind of get through the struggles of ministry and life in general?
I knew you was gonna ask me that. So just for the record, I don't listen to mainstream music just for recreation. I don't listen to mainstream music just for recreation. I may like a mainstream artist from time to time, but it depends on the content of what that song is about. Most of the time when I'm listening to music, it's something Christian, whether it's Lecrae, Tripley, and people who I know who are Christians. That's my friends. Like Aha Gazelle, I know him. Star Ringo, I know him. Marvin Moore, I know these guys. Ty Brazzle is from Olive Branch, Mississippi. Like, these are really good artists that are from these areas. So like on a daily, it probably be, I know I'm gonna have something Lecrae on my playlist. My wife was born and raised in church. I was not born and raised in Pentecostalism, but she was born, I'm talking about like born in Pentecostal. She know every gospel song, every gospel hymn. She know when the invocation is supposed to happen. Like when we first joined, when we first got married and she joined, she was like, y'all don't do no invocation. Like she knows like all of the gospel stuff. Only lately I've probably gotten more into like actual gospel music, like old school gospel music. But for the most part, it's like 1K Few, Cray, Tripley, Gazelle, Ringo, people like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm excited to hear this new music that you're going to be working on, that'll hopefully be out next year, right?
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited for everybody else to hear it, because I can just tell in your preaching that there's something in there that is going to make that music so amazing. And I just can't wait to hear it. But is there anything else you want to leave us with, or any advice you have for people who are interested in the music industry, or just need encouragement in general?
Yeah, I would say we need more authentic Christian leaders in the music industry. And when I say authentic, and this is something I think we talked about before as well, my favorite quote is, when you live for people's acceptance, you die from their rejection. And that's a part of the reason why that's my favorite quote, is because that's something I still have to battle on a consistent basis. As a artist myself, as a minister, you always have to remind yourself that I can't live for people's cheers, because if I live for people's cheers, I'll die by their boos. And being authentic, staying true to yourself, staying true to why you do it, staying true to who God made you to be. This is how God has given me this gift of ministry, this platform of ministry to bear it out. I'm not in my 50s. I'm not, from that generation of, I'm not like a rectangle. Like, I feel like I got more of a circle thing going on. That's weird. I mean, but you get my drift. You get what I'm saying? But like, just be true to who God made you to be. It doesn't have to look like somebody else. It doesn't have to sound like somebody else. It doesn't have to fit somebody else's box. As long as you true to God and you true to who God made you to be, not just who you trying to be and who other people want you to be, that's a recipe for success as far as I'm concerned.
I love that.
Mm.
Thank you so much for being
Thank you for
with
having
us, Dr. Jameson.
For sure.
And thank you all for watching this episode of Why We Sing. Make sure you like and subscribe for more episodes as we continue to explore the purpose and power in music.
For sure. Peace.